Happy Saturday. Good morning. It is the Going On Daily Live morning show. Again, if you're joining us, hopefully you're drinking your coffee, you're reading your news. Remember when people used to have like a newspaper? I'm sure everyone's just scrolling on their phones, but you have us on in the background to entertain you. The whole crew is here for Saturday.
Can I warn people?
Or at least they were. Wait, hold on.
I warn everybody okay here? Okay, all right. Can I warn people not to read and listen to us at the same time? So your brain something could happen. Some wiring could get broken doing that.
You don't like background noise?
I do, but it has to be background noise that doesn't interrupt what I'm doing.
Ah.
So if I'm reading and somebody's talking, that's like a nightmare to me. Like it has to
Okay,
be,
I'll give you that.
You know
but
what I mean?
At work, I have to have music on in the background.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So JP's waking up. He's having his first sip of coffee.
Yeah,
How you doing,
I've been
JP?
up for a little bit. Oh, pretty good. It's been a long week, and now it's snowing.
Ooh, so cool. I can't wait for the snow.
Really?
Yes.
It is 60 degrees on Long Island, or it's going to be 60 degrees. I just walked my dog. It's beautiful out. You can keep the snow where you are.
32 today. It's going to be 32 degrees.
And when you go outside, this is what I'm talking about, how you get acclimated to the weather.
Mm-hmm.
When you go outside at 32 degrees, what are you wearing? Like for outer layers?
A hoodie.
That's what I figured. You're used to it. Like, it's 32. It's nothing. Lena, what do you wear when it's like 32 when you're going outside?
Probably the same. It depends what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, here I imagine it's kind of like that everywhere. But if it's clear and sunny and the wind's not blowing, I mean, you'd be fine in just a hooded sweatshirt if it's 0 degrees. But if the wind's blowing, I mean, when it gets negative 40 and stuff here, you're not going outside in a hoodie. I mean, you're wrapped up. I mean, but your cars don't start. You're not going anywhere. You're kind of locked down for a while.
By the way, for those who don't know, JP, you're in Montana, right? Mm-hmm. Lena, you are in Rhode Island?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're in Rhode Island, and I'm in Long
New England
Island.
Facility, yeah.
Yeah, I always want to say like the New England area, a clump of stuff.
Yeah, we're in a tri-state or whatever you want. Well, you're probably in a tri-state area yourself. But,
I am.
Yeah.
The only thing that bothered me about why I brought that up is my sister moved to Florida 6 months ago. She flew up here and immediately was, oh my God, it's cold.
Yeah.
You've lived your entire life in New York. Winter is, below 0 when you get it. And now you went to Florida for 6 months and it's anything below 60 is, oh, I need a coat.
Well, you have to understand that in Florida, it's so much more. It's more like hell down there, especially the last couple of months. I mean, it's probably been 100 down there more than once.
Plus humidity.
Few months, right? So
you can keep it.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I don't really like the heat. I like the cold, but I don't necessarily need it to be negative 40 either. It's a bit much, but depends on what you got going on, right?
Well, before Ron has a heart attack and says, "Where's the social media?"
Yeah,
I'll do the social media report.
Let's put it up, or is it there?
That's right. Put them all up there. If you want to watch us live, which hopefully you're doing right now, and you want to tell your friends, you can go to YouTube. You can go to Rumble. You can go to Kick, and that is all under Rhode Island Broadcasting. If you're on Twitch and you want to tell people to watch there, it's Twitch at RI_broadcasting. If you want to listen to, and on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at Broadcasting RI. Now, if you want to just listen to us, you can do that. And that would be at Spotify, Red Circle, TuneIn, or iHeartRadio at RI Broadcasting. And we have social media like everybody does. Now get ready for this. You can follow us on TikTok, MeWe, Blue Sky, Parler, LinkedIn, and all of those are at RI Broadcasting. This show, Going On Daily Live Morning Show, we have our own Facebook page. So go there, and it's at Going On Daily Morning Show. And then, of course, we have Patreon. Now, Patreon is where you can really support the show because you can buy our merch. We have our little logo there right below Lena if you're watching. It's going on daily with the microphone. Ron, I'm guessing Ron designed that. It's quite a nice logo, actually. And it would look nice on a mug, which it does, and a pen or a magnet or whatever you need. So go there. It's Patreon at RI Broadcasting. And then, of course, we're on a network. We're on the Rhode Island Broadcasting Network. So we have a website, rhodeislandbroadcasting.net, not .com, .net. And you can check out all the shows that are on the Rhode Island Broadcasting Network. You can see all the past episodes of Going On Daily. You can see my other show, Circling the Drain. Other people, we all have great shows. Check it out. But like I said, it's Saturday, November 8th. Here's what we want you to know as we continue Food Week. Well, guys, as we know, it's November now, and Thanksgiving is just around the corner. I don't know if you're the same opinion as me, but you don't mess with the Thanksgiving food. If you got to stick to the staples, in my opinion. It's fine. I know a lot of people don't like turkey. I understand that. You have some people have an extra. They have a ham. My father always wanted a steak when he was around. But you got to have that turkey. I ask people all the time, what is it at your Thanksgiving table that maybe somebody else doesn't have? Lena, what would you say that you have?
I don't have a Thanksgiving table. I always go somewhere else. And
well, you go somewhere, but
what would I have that I don't?
I have friends who have tamales.
Okay.
I have friends who have fried rice.
Okay.
Everybody has something different.
Yeah.
JP, do you have anything different?
I go over to my boss's house because I've been doing it for the last 4 or 5 years. Because when I moved here, I didn't really know that many people. They do prime rib instead of like a turkey or a ham or something like that. And so then everything else is pretty much the same thing stuff. Their daughter's quite of a baker, that kind of thing. She she graduated high school last year, but she usually made a couple pies, a bunch of desserts. And then being in a small community, people are always giving things to everybody else. And so there's, tons of desserts that are made from these people, those people, that kind of stuff.
By the way, I love that people, just walk over and say, here, I made this for you. Mm-hmm. That's what Thanksgiving is supposed to be about. Everybody coming together. But there are some people, they want to mess with the norm, quote unquote. And I have a few things that, let's see how you feel about this. Starting off now, a lot of people have very strong opinions about macaroni and cheese. I know you don't mess with it. People have their recipes, and that's how it is. Well, Kraft, who of course makes the blue box macaroni and cheese, they felt, how did they say it? Inspired to change for Thanksgiving. So it says people love their mac and cheese, but they've decided to be inspired and combine two favorites to create a unique new meal for Turkey Day. The brand new apple pie mac and cheese combo.
I saw that. Somebody showed me that. That's gross.
It combines two of the most iconic Thanksgiving dishes to create sweet and savory. The apple pie flavor savors. It's a trend that feels both familiar and adventurous. According to fan reaction here, they bought it very quickly and then quickly declared this should never be sold ever again.
I got news for Kraft, by the way.
Yes.
Nobody's using them on Thanksgiving. Like that is not Kraft is not a brand that Thanksgiving has anything to do with. And I understand that they're trying to sell a product and they're trying to get involved, but they need to just stay out of it. Nobody's making Kraft macaroni and cheese for their Thanksgiving.
I don't even really like making it. When my daughter was younger, I didn't even really like buying that box stuff to feed her. I mean, you want to talk about the worst of the worst, probably, when it comes to food coloring, the dyes, the additives, all these fake nutrition. You know what I mean? It's just, there's nothing good about it. It's not going to make you feel good. It doesn't fill you up. I mean, sure, it's relatively cheap, but
I mean, don't get me wrong. When
it's hard enough to get good food into your kids as it is. I mean, you don't need to add to it by stacking up a bunch of horrid stuff.
Right. Yeah, it's not. When I was a kid, we ate it, you know, as kids. I mean, I'm Gen X, so we ate Spam, we ate all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm surprised we're not dead right now, most of us, for the stuff we ate. But yeah, that's just. I mean, like I said, unless you're dealing with like a food issue where you're not able to find the food, there's something going on where you're needed to source something to eat because you just don't have it on Thanksgiving. I get it, but that is not a family staple. That's not happening. That's not happening.
And I mean, baked mac and cheese is so easy to make that, I mean, you're already putting in all the time for all the other Thanksgiving stuff. I mean, throwing some macaroni and cheese into a pan and baking it for a while is not that big a deal.
Well, let me ask you a question. Is this supposed to be the mac and cheese side dish, or is this a new dessert? I mean, apple mac and cheese?
I think it's garbage. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It needs to
there
stop.
you go.
No, I mean, Kraft needs to stop speaking and stop engaging. Not in this particular thing, anyway. But yeah, somebody showed me a label of that, and I was like, "What?" I thought it was a joke. Actually, I thought it was a joke. I thought they were just somebody was making it just to gross us all out. I didn't think it actually existed.
Well, not to go back, but a couple of weeks ago we did Cheese Week, and mine was about cheese food, and that's exactly what that powdered stuff is. It's not cheese; it's cheese food. So that doesn't work.
Now, do I like boxed macaroni and cheese? Yes, but I do not like anything I'm like into Whole Foods cheddar, white cheddar. You know, there's no the pasta is whole grain, all of it. You know, like you don't put milk in it, all that kind of stuff. But if I'm in the mood for it, that's how I'll eat it. But yeah,
it's not that hard to make the regular stuff.
To those people buying this Kraft product, I don't know what to say.
Okay, moving on now. Like we said, maybe some people don't want turkey as their main meal. Mm-hmm. So DiGiorno has decided, yes, the pizza makers, they're going to make a Thanksgiving pizza for you. It's a frozen pizza, which has a Detroit-style thick crust. Now you will have your mozzarella, cheddar cheese, gravy, green beans, crispy onions, dried cranberries, and bits of, I'm assuming, frozen roasted turkey. How are we feeling?
No. I'd probably try that once just to see what it tasted like, but I would never really. Like, I'm curious, but I'm not like, oh my God, that sounds delicious at all. But
I'm not buying the crispy onions and green beans and stuff. It's a frozen pizza. I mean,
I know.
Made with the cheapest ingredients they could possibly make, so it's probably not even really turkey. It's probably a turkey alternative or something, and it just frozen gravy. I mean, it just none of it sounds like it would heat up very good. I mean, it just sounds like a nightmare. I wish a lot of these companies would focus their time, resources, energy, and money on
one product,
better product instead of novelty junk.
Yeah,
but that's not what happens. I'm sure they're gonna have a Christmas pizza that'll come out.
Because I'll bet money that neither one of those products are allowed to be sold in Canada because they don't allow the same stuff that we allow. So maybe if they I don't know. I just think I wish they would focus less on making our country obese and like brain foggy and focus more on like good food.
Yeah,
I agree with that, but that's not what always happens.
No.
What was it? A few years ago, we had COVID, unfortunately, and I had spent 2 Thanksgivings by myself, and I mean by myself, because one was the COVID year, nobody was really getting together, and the next year, my sister, who usually hosted, had COVID, and we were like, okay, everybody stay home. So for 2 years, and at no point in my head did I ever think, I'm alone. I'm going to go out and find a pizza or a burger. Or I went to the store. I got a turkey breast. I made some sides. Make your own mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
It's not hard to make real food.
Right.
I actually have a local market that I know a lot of people don't have local markets anymore, do they? It's like a local IGA, and they have like people there that actually make little meals like that. They put them in the, like a little.
Yes, we have
I
that.
actually go and buy those where there's like a little. They actually did it all there, and packaged it, and it's maybe it's the same day or whatever. You go and you buy it. And it's a little turkey dinner,
right?
And you eat it.
They do that here quite a bit.
Person. Yeah.
Yeah, you could do that.
Turkey, some gravy, some mashed taters, some stuffing.
I think I added a couple things from I made a couple extra things, but that was enough. Like you don't need to stuff yourself anyway. It's one person.
By the way,
right,
Ron, you eat fish on Thanksgiving? I guess we can't wait for the reply on that.
If you're not a some people don't eat. I don't know if Ron eats meat or not, or if he's like a vegetarian, but some people eat fish because of that. I'll eat fish anytime you put it in front of me, so I don't really think it matters to me. But maybe it's tradition.
It probably depends on where you are too, because in the Midwest,
doesn't like
where
turkey.
You're not. I mean, we don't have the same access to fish year round.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Oh, you guys don't know what you're missing, man. Oof.
Well, I
know
during the summer, people can have them in their freezers and can pull them out and stuff like that. But I mean, there's only certain times of the year that the people come from Alaska with the fresh salmon or the seafood kind of stuff. I mean, we're quite a ways inland from the ocean, so a lot of the ocean kind of stuff is either you're rolling the dice buying it at the grocery store, or you're kind of waiting around for the people that have the small ice hut deals come.
So now we're going to move on to
Ron said he doesn't like turkey, so that was why. That's why he don't.
Fine.
Okay.
Now we're going to move on to desserts.
Okay.
So people bring their own different desserts, and we all love. Does everybody like Oreos?
Yeah, they're okay.
They're fine. Mm-hmm. And they come out with different flavors. You can get the peanut butter. You can get this flavor, cinnamon flavor, and chocolate. They've decided to come out with a Thanksgiving-inspired cookie collection. For a limited edition time, you can get a big package. Ron says he misses his mother's pudding cake. So for a limited edition, you get a tin for $19.99, and you get 12 packs of cookies. Now you get Oreo. Let's see what they think you want for Thanksgiving. They are fudge covered. So, fudge covered Oreos. And the flavors are as follows: turkey and gravy, sweet potato, creamed corn Oreos, pumpkin pie, and cranberry sauce.
Gross.
Is that what you want for your dessert?
I'm pretty speechless. I just don't. This goes along with everything else. What?
Why wouldn't they just make it the all pie flavors? Like pecan pie.
It makes more sense.
Yes.
Apple pie.
Pumpkin pie. Thanksgiving. Sweet
chocolate
potato pie.
Awful.
I just don't. Yeah, I don't know. But
I think they're smoking a lot of dope in those conference rooms, trying to come up with ideas.
And we live in a place where all these bizarre novelties seem to get sold. I mean, you got all this stuff going on with those Starbucks bears right now, and it's just like,
if you make anything limited edition, the idiots in the U.S. will
there you go. There you go.
Well, that's a marketing kind of thing, because if the fear of missing out will drive people to buy. So if you put limited edition, only a select number left, anything like that. Order now while supplies last. That's why every commercial has something along those lines, is because it triggers whatever in your brain to make you want it more than the fear of missing out.
Are you putting all this on the table? Because
no, I am putting none of this on my table. But we will have turkey, Ron. Sorry. So let's see. Moving on. I don't understand. I guess we're trying to make regular main dish and side dish food taste like dessert, and we're trying to make desserts taste like main dish and side dish.
I'm confounded, and
Yeah.
Well, it's not done because maybe you want a little ice cream. Well, there's a company called Salt and Straw, and they are doing this year a Thanksgiving series of pints. You can get 5 different flavors. Here are the flavors that you want for dessert on Thanksgiving. You want a little ice cream? How about one that tastes like rolls and salted buttercream?
No.
No? No?
No.
How about maple squash with pomegranate?
no. Oh my God.
No, because
what a gross
chocolate,
combination.
vanilla, and chocolate chip are no good, right?
Right.
Maybe you want a little cranberry orange sorbet.
Mm.
No? No?
No.
That's probably the most
Okay, this one I can understand a little
normal
bit.
one I've heard, though. At least they're both fruits.
Right.
Well, this one is pumpkin pie tiramisu. They're desserts.
I don't know. I don't
Why
eat
not just
desserts,
make
so this
pumpkin
is all
pie?
lost on me. I don't really eat this stuff. So
Well, then, of course, you can have ice cream after you've eaten your
Mhm.
turkey and your stuffing and your cranberry sauce, and you want some ice cream, and it will be turkey stuffing and cranberry sauce flavored.
that's gross.
Little bits of cornbread in there. Come on, you don't want to get that?
I think I'll just stick with the ice cream shop down the road that does like holiday, blizzards, but they're all like
Ooh.
normal tasting ice cream. They just have,
It's a little out there, I got to tell you, but this is what they do this time of year. And to finish it off, just in case you didn't get enough turkey and you want something to drink, Jones Soda Company has come out with their Thanksgiving Soda Challenge. All you have to do is buy a bottle of their Jones Turkey and Gravy Soda. Get somebody to film you as you chug the entire bottle. Send a video to them, and they'll send you a T-shirt. So is anybody up for
That's not
chugging
worth a
some turkey
t-shirt.
and
About the only
gravy?
way they're going to sell any of that, I imagine. I imagine that they put it out and then realized that they had to do something to get people to actually buy it.
I like that. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I do like Jones Soda though. I mean, I like the orange cream and I like the root beer and some of the, I like the old soda shop sodas.
Yes.
Stewart's
Normal
makes some pretty
flavors.
good ones too. The black cherry and the key lime or whatever it is. I mean, I like the way that those sodas taste. I like the carbonation in them. I feel like there's a lot less sugar than regular pop or regular soda, but I'm not a big soda drinker. I mean, I might drink 3 pops a year.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Now, I'm thinking Christmas is probably going to be like candy cane soda and things like that. When you have the actual food, why are you drinking that? I don't want
Right.
everything on my plate to taste the same.
Right.
I don't know. I
mean, that'd be like going to the bar and taking a shot of whiskey with a backer that's soda that tastes like whiskey. It just doesn't have the alcohol in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're just chasing.
A whiskey and soda that tastes like
Are
whiskey.
you washing down your turkey and gravy soda, and then taking a bite of turkey and gravy ice cream? I mean, I thought the whole idea of having a bunch of different food was to be able to eat a bunch of different food, not have like 4 courses that all taste the same.
Psychologically, in ad campaign marketing, things like that, I have to ask what they think their audience is made up of. Like it's insulting to your demographic to think that
Right.
stuff. And it's a waste
I
of money.
mean-
Like none of it makes any sense.
And
Okay,
I mean, but the
whatever.
other part is, I miss out on a lot of these kinds of things because there's 2 grocery stores in the town that I live in, and they're not going to order any of that stuff that isn't going to sell. And so I never see any of these kinds of things on the shelf because there's no like
No market.
discounted grocery store that takes all the holiday stuff they didn't sell. You know what I mean? Like there's no
Yes.
grocery outlet type places that take all the overstock and take all the unsold stuff before it expires or the holiday stuff. And so if it doesn't sell consistently here, it doesn't stay on the shelves. They just don't order it because they don't have anywhere to send it. I think it's all lost if they don't sell it.
Exactly. It's a waste of their money and time.
Mhm.
But meanwhile, the Oreos have sold out. I don't know about this other stuff, but the Oreo stuff at least sold out. But I think that may have something to do with there's a collector's tin that people want, like you said about the bear. Oh, I got to get the bear. It's a collector's tin.
Maybe.
So these are things I'm guessing you shouldn't have on your Thanksgiving table.
Mm-hmm.
But now, JP, you have something. I don't know when you serve this, but I've heard about this. Go ahead.
So I did the food of Oregon last week with Marionberries. This is another thing that is regional, and you would call it like a delicacy, I guess. I mean, it wouldn't be that much different than caviar or duck eggs in South America, or some of these things that seem very, very strange to the outside of the culture or regions. They call them Rocky Mountain oysters, at least up here. Texas might be a little bit different. Are not a seafood at all, despite the name. They are a classic dish from the American West, made from bull testicles, sometimes from pigs, sheep, or bison. Mostly, most all of the ones that I've never come across, and ones from pigs, sheep, or bison. But the origin of the dish of it comes from ranching regions like Colorado, Montana, Wyoming, and Texas, where nothing from a slaughtered animal went to waste. And so it was in the West, in the old West times, a lot of the people that homesteaded and migrated here had the same mentality as the Native Americans before them of if you kill it, use it all and don't waste anything. Plus, during certain eras, financially, you had to sell everything, to feed yourself and this and that. And so, nothing went to waste. I mean, I would assume that haggis in Scotland kind of started the same way, because it seems really odd to me, but to people in Scotland, it's a delicacy dish.
Absolutely.
And so traditionally, they're a novelty food at many Western festivals. For example, Montana's Testicle Festival, and often eaten as bar snacks, appetizers. The taste texture, they're often compared to fried calamari or chicken nuggets. Mild, slightly gamey, and crispy on the outside. The dish traces back to the 19th century cattle ranchers and cowboys of the American West, particularly in Colorado, Montana, Texas, Wyoming, when ranchers castrated young bulls to make them easier to handle and improve the meat quality. So basically, when you make a bull, a steer, when you're branding and they're, weaning off the moms, to improve the meat, they suddenly had a surplus of rather unusual byproduct. Waste wasn't part of the cowboy code. Everything edible was used.
Good.
Out on the open range, food options were limited, so the ranch hands tossed the testes into the fire or fried them in a cast iron pans with a bit of seasoning, and discovered that prepared right, they were actually pretty tasty, tender, mild, and rich in protein. Over time, the dish moved from cow camp practically to regional identity. Chuck wagon cooks perfected the recipes, and it became a staple of branding and roundup season when the camaraderie, competition, and cooking all blended together. As towns grew and cowboy culture became part of Western folklore, Rocky Mountain oysters made their way onto saloon menus and small town festivals. They were eaten both for flavor and for a dare, a mix of humor and rugged pride. And then it's just sort of a tradition. I mean, it's kind of one of those deals when you're branding and you're doing the certain type of ranching stuff. It went from, a long time ago, on horseback and wagons when, you were going through Wyoming, going through parts of Colorado, going through West Texas, even eastern Montana. There wasn't a lot of other animals around to feed the hands or the working guys or the ranchers and this and that. And so want not, waste not, and then it just it continued on. And the people that I know that do those festivals, and the town I grew up in Oregon, they had a big deal at the Elks Lodge at a certain time of year, and everybody came down, and it was a big feed deal, and they do it quite a different places.
So when the balls dropped, everybody showed up. There we go.
Pretty much.
So my question is,
they do big fundraisers and stuff with them too, because
I can imagine. Have you had any? Have you tried them personally?
I didn't know what it was when I did, but yes, I was. It was like a chicken nugget.
Okay.
I mean, it's like anything that's breaded, deep fried, cooked on a pan. I mean, whether it's that or sturgeon or halibut or whatever you're making, it's all relatively tastes the same. Except for whatever's inside. Obviously, fish tastes like fish and meat tastes like meat. But if I wouldn't have been told what it was, I would have probably just thought it was, like a game bird.
That's probably how they get most people to actually try it the first time. Here, just try this, have this.
Right.
First of all, kudos to Ron for getting that little cow logo there.
Yeah. And the dad jokes are flying, like Ron's one after the other. He's just doing a little stand-up show
right
over
now.
there.
Lena, have you tried them?
No. I watched Funny Farm when I was real young, so I know the name of it. And it just, that's all I think of whenever I hear that is Chevy Chase. That's all I can think of.
I think Ron actually brought that up.
He didn't. No, I did in the chat. But
you did it in the group chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, that was exactly what they did to him. He went to a restaurant. It was like, they were like, all right, there's this prize or something. I can't remember what it was, but there was there was a
and he ate like 40, 50 of them or something.
Yeah. It was the running total was 27 or something, or 28. And he's like, I could do that. And then they give him they give him 28, and he beats and then they say to him, he goes, by the way, what is this made of? And they say it's sheep. They use sheep, I guess. Wherever he was. And he spits out the 28, and they're like, oh nope, we're back to 27. So nobody's beat. That's basically the whole scene. But but yeah, that's how I know it. So no, I wouldn't. If somebody offered them to me, I wouldn't eat them because of that. But I've never been anywhere where they even serve them. I don't think. Not in this area.
No, I don't think I've ever even been offered them. But I know for a long time, until you found out what it was, you would just sit there and go, Rocky Mountain oysters, like you said. Okay, well, some sort of seafood, and
right.
They really need to trick you in order to do this until you try it.
So,
but I do like the fact that it came out of, well, if you're going to kill something, you better use all of it.
Right.
The Native American custom.
Here's my question.
Yes.
While you were telling the story, I was thinking, if you're castrating bulls that young, how are they getting any procreation of these animals? How are these animals actually breeding at all?
Well, you have so you have bulls and you have steers, which is the two males, and you have heifers and you have breeding cows, which the females would still have all of their same lady parts and all that stuff. Steers and heifers are what are sold for, like your steaks, your hamburgers, and this and that. And so they have each ranch only needs 3, 4, half dozen, depending on how big the herd is, of bulls that can go through all the cows.
Yeah, and they all go through
every
the cows
spring
once. If they find if they find a cow that they've already had, they don't want it.
Right.
Anyway.
And so I mean, out of each, depending on the way that the ranchers it kind of depends on what kind of herd they're raising and that kind of stuff. They'll keep however many of them that they need to stay bulls, just stay bulls, and then the rest of them they make turn into steers because
Okay.
later down the line, I mean, sure, the bull's genetics and the offspring pays for itself, but you're not going to castrate an old bull and then think that you're going to sell him for meat or do anything like that. Like once a bull becomes a full-grown bull, they are a bull for the rest of the time that they're alive. And so if they're not reproducing or they don't have the good genetics or whatever that you need to reproduce, then you just kind of have this bull around that may have no use.
Got it.
So some are studs and some are, well, they're done.
So to summarize, that makes sense. I just wanted to know.
But it's kind of the difference. I mean, if you the bulls that you see, like the bull riders on TV riding, the way that they look compared to like a cow standing in a field,
right?
That's why they castrate them.
Okay, I'm good. I wanted to know, and I'm done. So I don't need any more. But yeah, I just want to know like the math of it. You know what I mean? I know that we're into 2 topics, and it's been 45 minutes. So I'm trying not to.
As usual.
I just had a question. I just didn't know.
No, that's fine.
And
now we're going to continue with food, but let's see. So we've covered Thanksgiving, and we've covered Rocky Mountain oysters. And Lena, you have some people's favorite meal, and you're going to tell us about it.
Yeah. I learned years ago, watching Ron's comments, the math is 2 balls and 5 balls for a plate. Okay. Oh, this distracting comment of his. Anyway,
you can cut it off.
Yeah. Is that another joke? So, I did not know as a kid growing up in Rhode Island, like lobster is like supposed to be a delicacy. It's pretty much just the way we've always looked at it, right? But I never knew that like they were not always. That they at one point were like food for people in prison and things like that. Like they basically were seen as trash, you know what I mean, or as rats almost, like basically for the ocean. So, so it's a symbol of fine dining, especially cages now, but not long ago, lobster was considered a food for the poor, even fed to prisoners and fed to farm animals. Yes. In the early days, right, in colonial America, lobsters were cheap, they were abundant, and they were undesirable, which is weird. But like I said, marketing is a big thing and changes a lot of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they would wash up on New England shores in piles. They would be seen as food for servants, prisoners, and even pigs. Right. And so it was so common that they became a symbol of like poverty and low status. Like if you ate lobster at one point, they would say you were a poor person because the elite didn't touch lobster, which is crazy. So in the Civil War, during the 1860s, lobster found a new use: canned rations for soldiers. Canning made seafood portable, shelf-stable, expanding access inland. And soldiers who ate canned lobster discovered it wasn't so bad, right? Helping to erase some of its poor man's food stigma at that time, right? So then the train travel boom came, culinary discovery came once the trains started getting put in, right? In the early 1900s, train travel and tourism exploded in popularity. Train chefs needed affordable, easy-to-prepare proteins, and lobster fit the bill. So it started on like in train dinners and things like that, which is interesting.
Wow, okay.
Around that time, chefs also discovered that lobster tastes best when cooked live, preserving flavor and texture. So they didn't always do that, which is another thing I find interesting. Travelers, especially with wealthier ones, were unfamiliar with lobster's reputation. They tried it and they loved it. So that's kind of when it started to change. And then when it went from a cheap meal to luxury I cannot talk today. Luxury demand. Look how I read. What did I tell you? Word spread. People across the country wanted fresh Maine lobster shipped to them. And I guess it's based on, the way that it looked or the way that it was marketed, or like, it's just funny because some rich people ate it and went, wow, what is this? Like, and that changed everything. As the demand grew, prices skyrocketed. And lobster transformed into a luxury delicacy, right? By the mid-1900s, it had fully flipped its social status and now associated with fine dining and special occasions.
Right.
Scientists even attempted lobster farming, aquaculture, but failed since lobsters are territorial and cannibalistic in captivity.
Oh, lovely.
So, yeah,
They ate
isn't that nice
themselves.
to know? Today we resource lobster from both cold waters like Maine or Canada, right? Warm waters like Florida, California, and Mediterranean, or the Caribbean. And of course, we have different types of lobsters. We have cold water lobsters. They have large claws and sweeter meat. Their diet includes shellfish, which adds depth to their flavor. They're often considered the premium variety of lobster. Hello, and of course, living up in New England. That's why I'm such a snob about it. Warm water lobsters, they don't have claws. They just have an extra set of antenna for protection. They're usually sold as tails. This is down where you get down by Florida way. They have, what are they called? I don't want to say they're called rock lobsters because that's more the B-52s.
That's
but
the
there's
B-52s, yes.
There's a different type of name for the lobsters down south. They're sold as tails down there since that's where most of the meat is. Up here, yeah, we have the claws that are like huge. They're almost half the meal. Meat is delicate, mild, and full-bodied, different but equally loved taste in the south or in warm water. So, from humble beginnings as prisoner food to a gourmet delicacy, lobster's journey is one of reinvention and rebranding.
Well, it's kind of the supply and demand regulation, the more, I think probably the limited access per year drove the want up more. Because, historically the higher society people wanted the rarest stuff because it meant that it was,
of course,
it's whatever social status it made at the time. Sort of like here, a big thing with the buffalo was the high society people in New York wanted to eat the tongue. And so that was why they almost made the buffalo go extinct, because they were getting paid. They were getting so much money for the tongues to send to New York and the skin to send to Paris for the designers or whatever. And then the rest of everything else just sat and they let it rot in the sun because those were the only two things that they wanted off them.
It's like elephants and tusks, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
The only thing
was the term you were looking for spiny lobster?
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know if that's what I've heard though. I can't remember. There's if for somebody that lives in Florida, they'll know what I mean. There's just like a local term for it that I can't think of right off the top of my head.
I never knew that though. That some of them didn't have the claws; they just had the extra large antenna.
If you are, that's why when I moved to Georgia for 2 years, I was horrified by the food. I mean, there's, anything that you ate that was any good was shipped.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was shipped, it was 2 days old. It was like an average of 2 days old if you got it from New England, and that's or northern Washington, northern Pacific, because a lot of stuff came from there too. But if they got it from New England because it was closer, but there wasn't a lot of the stuff that I like to eat up here. They didn't make down there, and if you did find a place that did, it was sourced, and so I mean, here you can go sit 20 minutes from here. I can go sit right now at a restaurant that's got a boat outside of it. And the lobsters are coming right off that boat. Like they literally bring them into shore, take them off the boat, and bring them in and steam them, and you're done. But
didn't you tell me during the summer that there are supermarkets up there where you can walk up to the tank, pick it out, go shopping, and they prepare it while you're shopping?
We have a couple of supermarkets that will have a tank.
Mm-hmm.
And you come in and you're like, I need this, and whether they'll weigh it or they'll know how much or how big whatever's in the tank is. Give me 2. You'll go shopping. They'll steam them. Take 15-20 minutes. Come back. It's all bagged, steamed, ready to go. And you walk out, take it home, open it up, and eat it. And it's not all of them that do this here, but 2 or 3 of them will do it in our market chain. And again, there may be other markets that do that in other parts of of the Northeast, meaning Vermont, New Hampshire. There may be other chains that do that kind of same thing, but it reminds me of diamonds almost, in the sense that diamonds weren't a big deal either, and they got flipped over to be expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Right? At one point, diamonds, nobody cared. They didn't matter.
Right.
Well, they were laying all over the ground like bird eggs. I mean, it's
isn't that crazy? So it's kind of like how do you market something, and how do you make diamonds that expensive and that hard to get and that much of a big
Everything-
deal and that much of a status.
You make it exclusive and then keep talking about how exclusive it is to own it. And then little by little, because I mean, same thing with gold.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, gold doesn't really have a lot of uses. I mean, it's not really that pretty on its own. I don't know what diamonds, sure, once they're cut and stuff, they look nice on necklaces and this and that, but a raw diamond just kind of looks bland. I
don't know. What's the
not
difference?
just that.
Yeah, go
Didn't
ahead.
we have a conversation just a couple of weeks ago about the pet rock? It's a rock.
Yes.
But the guy made millions of dollars by marketing. I have a rock and you need a rock.
But
That's
also
all it is.
I only say this because a friend of mine and I, we went to see, Back to the Future over the weekend, and she had this. She had it for 2 years or something. She had a Beanie Baby of a Rottweiler, right? So she had it sitting aside. She was going to give it to me, and she kept forgetting to give it to me. So she gave it to me recently, and I thought about that, like that whole Beanie Baby thing, that crazy thing that went on. Like the thing about the pet rock that's different though is that it didn't stay popular. It was a quick trend.
Yeah.
Whereas some of these things are going on for years. So I don't know. I just I think if the world in general said, you know what, we don't care about diamonds anymore. We just don't care. They would.
There are a lot of people now switching to lab diamonds. So
I mean, I don't. Maybe I'm not your typical chick where I don't get jewelry anyway. I just don't get it. So I don't.
It's like it's social signaling, I think, at this point more than anything else. It's like, look how big the diamond I can afford.
Right.
Hanging around my neck or on my ring.
Yeah. So
it doesn't have a use. Yeah.
It has no use at all. Other than if there's something that has a lot of value and you can keep it and use it if you need it at some point to back up, whatever, get a loan or do whatever you need to do as collateral for something, it becomes a way to get something else. But you know what I mean? In itself, what the heck? It's just something.
And I mean, if it's an heirloom or something and has a lot of history and a lot of story, because this diamond ring that my great grandpa bought in Germany during World War II, and then wore it around his neck, and then came back over and proposed on when his ship landed, and this and that, and it's got a big story behind it, and it's got some sentimental value. That's one thing, but
and that's only
paying thousands of dollars for something that they can make the identical thing that you can't tell looking at it out of a lab for $5. Then what's the value in the one that costs thousands?
That's why they say you should go with cubic zirconia because it's just cheaper and it looks the same. What's the difference? Nobody's going to know. If you really have to have something and then you want to make sure people see it, why not just go that route? Unless you have an actual jeweler, who the heck cares? I don't know.
I had a friend who got engaged and her fiance bought her a 3-carat diamond, which was huge and beautiful. And the next time I saw it, I complimented it. Wow, that's really shiny. She goes, no, this is fake. And I said, what happened to the diamond? She goes, you think I'm going to wear that outside? And I couldn't tell the difference. So what did it matter?
It
and then she's just got it sitting somewhere for nothing.
Yeah.
So what's the point in even buying the original one?
Deposit box for the bank. Maybe you're paying $50 a month or whatever to hold that deposit box, and it's sitting in there.
And just costs more and more money. I mean,
I don't know.
And then at some point, maybe the mentality on diamonds shifts, and then all of those expensive diamonds that everybody bought aren't worth anything because nobody wants them.
I'm wondering when that's going to happen because there's been so many products in the past that have been extremely, extremely expensive and hard to source, and everybody wants.
But diamonds aren't. I mean, they have warehouses full of diamonds that they just sit on because the distributors own all the diamonds that ever enter the market, and so it's not like gold where there's only X amount on Earth,
right?
And it's going to run out.
We don't know what the amount is either of gold. We hope we know. We think we know. But this time of year, every time I see everybody that knows me well and knows that this is when I start revving up my marketing commercialism rant every holiday because it's between the Lexus with the bow on it and the diamonds for whether it's De Beers or
Diamond is Forever
or Jared or whatever it is that we're seeing commercials for, it's kind of like this is there are a bunch of people out there that think the holidays are depressing, and they only think they're depressing because like the advertising marketing campaign every year is if you're not if you're single, then we don't have anything to sell you. We don't care about you.
Right.
But here's what the couples are doing. They're giving each other Lexuses.
And it's priming everybody for Valentine's Day. You may not be able to afford it for Christmas, but Valentine's Day is right around the corner.
But the only reason that it's nonsense is because as soon as Valentine's Day comes and goes, then they start trying to sell you Mother's Day. They try to start selling you, so it's always something that they're trying to push. And if you've been in the radio or advertising business long enough, you just kind of like don't notice that stuff, or you just don't pay attention to it. But so many people really do like get depressed over this kind of stuff because they're watching TV and that's all they're getting is slammed with these ads about people that wear pajamas that match and whatever else.
Yeah, I think it's awareness. Like if you're aware enough to understand that. Content like TV shows and movies are for entertainment, not to dictate how to view your own life. And that commercials are advertisements. I mean, that's what they are. Like, it's not. But people get so wrapped into these things that it starts to have an effect on them personally when it has nothing to really do with
anybody that's ever watched Mad Men. Don Draper dropped a lot of knowledge on stuff like that. And he said something once like, us as love is just like a good way to sell pantyhose or something like that. He said a bunch of things like that over the course of the show. And it's the truth. It's like the whole concept of, it's this time of year where I need a date to bring the holidays and I need to have somebody to give gifts to and blah, blah, blah. And why this time of year is so important for everybody to feel like they need to be paired off. But absolutely nothing about this has to do with lobster because we went off on a tangent. But, if you're
it's okay if you don't have somebody to buy lobster for.
Yes.
You can eat it.
You can buy your lobster yourself, damn it. Enjoy it.
Who are you going to go out and eat lobster with if you're not paired up? Shame on you.
If you like lobster and you're not paired up, just have the people at the store cook it for you and sneak back home. Nobody will ever know.
Ironically, don't lobsters made for life though?
Probably.
I don't know, but thanks, Ira. We'll all go down that rabbit hole today. I don't know. Do they?
Sorry. Had to move on. Okay. I have a story here that I found very interesting, and I just wanted to see what you guys think about it. It comes from France. Does anybody here have? I know all three of us have dogs, right? Okay. Anybody ever have a cat by any chance?
Yep.
Okay, you've had a cat. I've had. They are curious animals. They like to be by themselves. They go where they want when they want. A lot of people have them. Outdoor cats, they come in when they want, and that's how you live your life. You don't know what the cat does. Well, in France, there was a 70-year-old woman named Dominique. She has a cat named Remy. Remy, as most cats, comes and goes as he pleases. She lets him out. Remy does whatever, comes back. Well, Dominique, she was served with legal papers because apparently her cat, Remy, likes to go to the neighbor's yard. And according to the neighbor, Remy is responsible for paw prints on the stucco, urine on her duvet, and feces in her garden, which is causing her plants to die.
What the heck is Dominique her duvet doing outside?
It is. It's outside. Why do you have a duvet outside? That's what I want to know also.
Anyway.
She did. She was fined $1,500 and told that cat cannot trespass on her neighbor's property again. How are you going to police that?
That's Karening right there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What is the French version of Karen, by the way?
I don't know.
I'm sure Ron will come up with that one.
Caron.
Caron? Okay. Since the verdict, she kept Remy at home. Remy then gained weight. He became aggressive. He won't eat. What do you call it? So he had treats. So he wouldn't eat his treats for some reason. And she didn't want to let him out for fear that he was going to do something and it's going to cost her money. She is the pet parent.
Well, we don't know anything about this, right? You haven't finished the story, of course, and I want to
haven't.
interrupt. I have questions about everything while somebody's telling the whole story. I have to interrupt 15 times and go.
Go. No.
Who's keeping anybody responsible for who's if you're telling me my cat can't go into this yard as a court system, you better tell me how to do it. Like, you better tell me how to do it without my cat being in the house for the rest of his life, right? So
put a little shock collar on him and make sure.
You can now put GoPros on cats, and I love cat videos of guys that they put, what does my cat do all day, and there's like a video of it. But you can do something like that, or you could put a tracker on him or something, and.
Ooh.
So
then the 70-year-old woman has to run outside and go, "Oh, I see you're in this yard. I can't have that."
But it's better than like the cat being just like quarantined for the rest of his life and like
Well, he wasn't. She felt bad for him, and he went back to his routine. This time, $2,300 fine because there was again damage to the neighbor when Dominique finally brought up one piece of evidence to the judge.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know it was my cat? There are cats everywhere.
How do you know it was any cat?
Right.
Yeah, like
exactly.
Do DNA. There you go. I hope that's where this goes.
That's where it should go.
Yeah.
But right now, she is trying to fight this. And that got me thinking too, okay, so you are responsible. You pretty much, as much as we call them family, you do own the animal. I mean, we got them, care for them, and do all this stuff.
Right.
Do you feel the same way if your child does this? Because I've heard of many stories where a kid will go to like a museum, and will knock something over, and then the parent goes, "Well, you didn't have a barricade, so I'm not responsible."
No. I don't have children, but if I did,
keep your hands to yourself.
Well enough, my children would not be doing that, and they would be getting in trouble if they did. I wouldn't be, obviously they wouldn't be old enough to know about like property and money and things like that.
Right.
But I wouldn't have a kid run ragged in places like that. Anyway, that would be my responsibility, hands down.
I grew up in a small. My parents had a very small restaurant. Did breakfast, lunch. I mean, not unfamily friendly, but it wasn't McDonald's. You know what I mean? And so like growing up in the service industry and watching the way that other kids acted or the parents allowed them to act curved us. I mean, we had, my parents were like, we never stood on the chairs at restaurants, never stood up in the booths, sit down and act like you have some common sense, have respect for other people's property, because like you had kids doing stuff in my parents' restaurant and my mom would grab them by the ear and take them back over. I mean, there was a lot of people that posted stuff about my mom because she'd grab them by the ear and take them over there and tell the kid to sit down and say, you need to this isn't a playroom.
Right.
If you want to go, there's no ball pit here.
Okay.
That belongs to McDonald's.
Exactly.
And so I was the same way with my daughter. Like, if it's not yours, don't touch it.
Yeah.
If you're walking through somewhere, don't touch, don't be grabbing and touching everything. Sit down.
Exactly.
Say please and thank you. Have respect for other people. Be polite.
Yep. I mean, we know now about things like ADHD, and I get that, and having kids that are antsy in a specific age, and needing stimulation, blah blah blah. So we should.
But if you know your kids are like that, then maybe monitor them in those situations. But most people are staring at their phone while their kids are running all over the place.
Yep.
And that's not good parenting.
Yep.
I know of I have it on both sides. I have a couple who have two kids who they pretty much don't want to parent. So the kid wants to do this, let's do it. The kid wants to do that, let him touch it, let him do. And then if anybody says anything, it's how dare you talk to my child.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I have on the other side where, just as you mentioned, it was a couple of years ago, went to a Chinese restaurant where they had one of those fish tanks that go on, like the entire wall. And a bunch of kids ran up, and I didn't have my daughter with me at the time, but my friend's kid told him, sit down. He said, but I want to go see. He said, this is not the time for that. So while all the other kids were running around mayhem. These parents were actually parenting their child. This is not the time for that. We will stop by later.
Right.
There's an appropriate time
like
and place
rules,
for everything.
guidelines, like some kind of structure. Now, I was born and raised Gen X, and I'm sure you were. How old are you? Well, not that I need to, but are you millennial?
I'm a Xennial, I guess is what they call it. I was born in '82.
The older millennial.
All right, so I would say that Ira and I are like dead center Gen X.
Yep.
So when I was growing up, parents would beat their kids in public. It wasn't anything.
The neighbor.
Well, I grew up in a small town, and so it was very rural, very country. My brother tried doing one of those 5-year-old throws a fit in the grocery store. Wasn't getting what he wanted to, and my mom left him there.
Yep.
And went home and told my dad to go pick his son up.
Yes. Yep.
Wait, what happened in the store?
I don't know. He wanted something, and she said no. I mean, but we were pretty poor, being raised by two, people that worked 50, 60, 70 hours a week, and were raised with Depression era parents. And so it was, if I sat down at my grandma's table to eat dinner and I didn't take my hat off, I could get hit with a wooden spoon.
I got that too.
I mean, that's how we were raised.
At the table, and you had to sit a certain way.
Right.
I had a major thing about crossing my legs at the table when I was really little.
Oh, wow.
And my grandmother would get on me about that. You don't sit at the table like that. What's the matter with you? And a couple of times it's just a funny story. She actually did it once or twice and said, "Now, do I look stupid? Look at this. Look at it." And it's true. She looked stupid. So that was how she did it. And I never did it after that again. But when you think about it, my grandmother and grandfather were Depression era. So my mom and her sister were kids grown up from Depression parents. So everything was like a commodity. Everything was precious. We didn't waste anything.
Yes.
My mother and my aunt were silent generation kids.
Right.
And so, you were raised to be seen and not heard from parents like that, because that's what they grew up with. And maybe it wasn't the right way to do it, to beat us into submission, but that was what we got because that's where our parents came from. So I wouldn't say abuse is the best answer. I'm not saying that it is, but it was just so commonplace when we were growing up that we didn't even think it was unusual to see it. That a kid would he would get bored in the bank, or he'd get bored at the grocery store or something like that.
Yes.
Where he wasn't supposed to make noise or move or anything like that. And the parent would just lay into him right there in front of everybody.
But I don't think we should have, and unfortunately people overcorrect, and we've done a 180 where if your kid makes a peep, you put a screen in front of them and they're entertained 24/7, and they never learn to, if you don't have it in front of you, relax. I
think the pendulum is swung because we were raised like forgotten kids. I mean, I left my house at 7, 8 every morning, and I would come back around dark at night in the summertime, and nobody asked where you were. Nobody asked what you were doing all day because the cops didn't bring you home. So I guess everything worked out. And
it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your kids are?
Yeah.
But now the pendulum has swung the other way to where people are, because we were all raised by non-existent parents, we're over involved in everything our kids are doing now and can't even let them out of our sight because we feel a certain way about the way we were raised. And so now we're doing the opposite instead of finding the happy medium. I mean, but if you don't teach your kids what's acceptable and unacceptable and when the time and place to do certain things is, then look at the way that the younger society is right now with still having temper tantrums. I'm the main character and they're on college campuses. I mean, because I tell my daughter that she's amazing and she's the most precious girl in the world and she's so smart and all these things to me, but the rest of the world does not see you that way. You're not the main character on planet Earth. You're a main character in my story. Yes.
Yep.
And I think that's where people are failing their kids because all of these, participation awards started kind of everybody gets a trophy. Everybody's a winner started when I was like in middle school. And I remember thinking that this is a horrible idea. And look at what it's snowballed into. I mean, everybody, I mean, you can't challenge anybody's beliefs. You can't tell them that they're wrong. I mean, you can't.
Yeah, nobody can have
and then you have all of these people, you know, and all these Karens running around trying to, I'm the main character of life.
Yeah.
I'm going to dictate how you live your life because it's not fitting into my script. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, that's just like the cat going next door. I mean, I live in a place where the majority of people have barn cats that never come inside.
Right. What are you going to
do? And they
You're
run all over
anybody.
everywhere. Now, I don't necessarily want my neighbor's dog to come over and dig a hole in my front yard by any means, but most people that own animals understand that animals kind of do whatever they want, you know, go.
Yeah, right. Like animals
do
are
this
not
and that.
Go, oh, that's a barrier. That I can't go beyond that fence.
Right, right.
I actually was it last weekend. I actually had to go out and like get a woodchuck and bag it because my cat came into my yard. It's a woodchuck that I've had for a while and I haven't been happy with it. But I mean, I don't want anything to happen to it. And even a cat. I mean, I have a fence around my yard, but cats don't care about fences. They go right over or through or whatever.
Right.
And this thing hunted this woodchuck in my yard and left it. I had to like wrap it up, and it was probably too big for a cat, but a cat killed it.
Right.
And it's kind of like, what are you gonna do? I don't know what cat it was. We have like 14 cats over here. Like that's life. Like, you know what I mean? So, I don't know.
We have rabbits in everybody's yards. There's rabbits in everybody's yards here. I mean, everybody's got. I mean, the rabbits are zipping all over every neighborhood.
Right. So, I mean, we have a lot of different types of animals that come and go in this area, but I can't imagine looking at a cat, one specific cat. Like, okay, I get like 14 cats, but one of them's orange, and this one orange cat belongs to this person. So I'm gonna go after this person and tell them that this orange cat is trespassing in my yard and like make a whole legal thing about. I can't even like imagine.
I can't believe the courts like went with it. You know what I mean? Like you're just making you're reinforcing somebody's bad behavior by giving them, by rewarding them for being the way that they are. And so what's next? Somebody parks in front of their house and then it's going to justify them breaking their windows out. And
they should,
you know what I mean? Like, I mean,
hey, we're not gonna do this. This is ridiculous. Take this. I mean, go home and put all your stuff in the house and stop worrying about.
I mean, we've reached a society where people say things all the time. JP, you've done stories with wildlife where people are, I'm going to take a picture with this buffalo.
Yes.
And when they say the buffalo went buffalo,
right?
You know, the lion went lion, the cat went cat. I don't understand. Yes, this is what they do. We can't enforce our laws on them.
Right.
Also, we're as human beings, and this is not going to be a long rant, but it's going to be a little bit of one. We have built up around animals that have just been minding their own business, and they have to go somewhere. Like it's kind of like, what do you expect them to do if you knock down all the trees and you build up all the neighborhoods, and their little piece of land that they usually live on is getting smaller and smaller? What?
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like, yes, they're gonna cross highways. Yes, they're gonna go through people's yards and take their pets. Like, these are wild animals. What? I don't know. It just makes me mad that people are like, in my neighborhood, we'll have like I'm on the Ring Doorbell Neighborhood Society. You know? Between that and like the next, there's a next door, right, or something like that. Then there's
next door
Facebook groups for your area, and people will take a picture of like, oh, there's a coyote.
Right.
Everybody be careful. There's a coyote. Keep your animals in the house. It's kind of like, well, what are we going to do about this coyote? Or like a bear that comes through. We got little black bears that come through all the time.
Right.
What are we going to do? It's kind of like, it's a bear. He's like, why don't we just leave him alone? He's not doing anything to anybody.
Keep your garbage lids on tight and you're fine.
Right. Like, or raccoons or whatever you're getting, like that. This is life. Like, figure out how to exist with these animals. These animals live outside and we're encroaching on their territory to some degree. So leave it alone unless it's doing something to you. Let's not all like go outside and start hunting things down. It doesn't make any sense. Like, so we have bobcats. We get a lot of bobcats this time of year.
Really?
Yeah, we do. So we, in my city, one city over, but like up towards the south end of Rhode Island, we get a lot of them. I'm sure Ron can say that maybe where he's at, wherever the woods are, for the most part. People are just having, bobcats sitting in their backyard in the morning or whatever.
Right.
But they're not bothering anybody. Like, they don't do anything. They just kind of roam through the yard. We're getting, with Ring cameras, I love it. We're picking up so much stuff that we normally wouldn't see. So
Right.
in the morning, you'll get up and check the camera, and maybe a bobcat walk through the front of your yard or whatever. But it's like not everybody gets all crazy, like, well, what should we do about that? Like this nuts thing. It's kind of like what this cat is doing absolutely nothing.
Right.
It was in the woods. It came out. It yawned. It laid down in your yard. It might be chasing a squirrel. What is the problem? I don't understand.
Right.
Other than like that's a beautiful animal and it's very cool to get a picture
Yes.
of it.
Mhm.
I like that part of it, but I don't know. It's just kind of
Oh, Ron.
Yeah,
No, Ron.
that's-
No.
Ron.
Ron's on fire today. Okay.
Yes.
We're going to switch topics. Lena, you and I believe Ron also went to the
Well,
40th
do we want to do that? I
anniversary.
mean, this is an if needed topic. We're way over our time at this point.
We got a few minutes. Come on. See, he's already got it up there.
This isn't going to be a few minutes, especially being Back to the Future, right? Yes, Ron. I think I went Saturday. No, I went last Sunday, and I think he went last Sunday night, if I'm not mistaken. But while I'm sitting in the theater, I'm thinking to myself, it's really funny that when you look at I'm weird, and of course I'm doing the Inception in my head. Like, okay, well, in 1985, this was 30 years before that, but now it's like 2025, and technically this is a 70-year jump, right? At this point,
1995 would be
Right.
where we would go back to now.
So it's kind of like if they were going to make that movie today, which I don't want anybody make it over. I don't want to see it, but if they did, we'd be going back to what 1995?
Mhm.
No.
Correct.
Would it be 95?
Yes, no, you
I
are
was trying to
correct.
figure that out in my head. Anyway, there's a whole thing about the timeline that goes on as far as like the trilogy. I didn't want to get into the whole thing because really the first movie is really the point right now.
Right.
Because the rest of the movies are not happened yet as far as the 40th anniversary goes, right? So I wanted to get into just a couple of little things that if you're interested, I don't want to reboot. I really don't. I don't know. No. No reboot. I'm gonna sound like my mother in the sense that when I was growing up and all the movies we were watching, my mother used to be like, we already had this movie. Everything we watched in the 80s was already something that she saw. And we would just be like so frustrated. But like now I feel like her now because like they're redoing everything and none of it's any good as far as I'm concerned or whatever. But all right, so if you are a fan of Back to the Future, and I don't know if you are or not, or if you've seen it 300,000 times like I have, there are all these little things that you can see in the movie. It's one of those movies that you will see something every time you watch it. No matter how many times you've seen it, you'll notice something cut suddenly after 400 watches, and you'll be like, I never noticed that. Yeah. So there's a little bunch of Easter eggs that are in the movie. And one of them is the clock figurine. I don't know if you've ever watched the beginning of that movie, but right at the beginning of the movie, there's like a bunch of clocks that they pan by.
Yeah.
Right.
One of them actually has a guy hanging off of it. If you get a chance to see it, it's actually there's a little guy in a little hat and a little suit hanging off its dock, right?
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd.
It's a foreshadowing, but you don't notice it.
Oh, wow.
You wouldn't notice it unless you've seen the whole thing, but obviously once you start seeing it a bunch of times, that's something you go back to. But right in the beginning, they'll show you hanging off of the big hand is a dock, right? So I just wanted to let you know that. Something to watch for. Also, so Marty comes in and he does this thing where he turns on all the amps and he gets the guitar going and blah, blah, blah. And on the amp is a label. And on the label, JP, do you know where I'm going with this?
I think so.
On the label is CRM 114. Right? It's just a label. Doesn't make any sense. You're like, what is that? You don't even notice it, actually. But CRM 114 is a Stanley Kubrick tribute. So you know that. Right. So yeah, in Strange Love, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying, Love the Bomb, CRM 114 Discriminator is a fictional piece of radio equipment in those movies. Excuse me. In 2001: A Space Odyssey, CRM 114 is the serial number on the Jupiter-bound spacecraft Discovery. And in A Clockwork Orange, the criminal youth Alex, who is Malcolm McDowell, takes a formula called Serum 114 as part of a rehabilitation process. This is just something that Stanley Kubrick has thrown in a bunch of his movies. In Eyes Wide Shut, the mortuary is associated with Wing C, Room 114, which comes to CRM 114 when abbreviated. So it's just a little thing that sitting there. It's like one of those label makers. It's in red. It's tiny, but it's just sitting there, and it's just like a little strip. If you had to be a real crazy movie person to notice that or to understand that, right? So there's this one part in the movie. I'm sorry if you've never seen it before. You're gonna get some spoilers. I'm sorry if you haven't seen it.
It's 40 years. You're okay.
There's this point in the movie where he's walking around the neighborhood. This is in 55, and he gets hit in the head, and he's laying down. He comes downstairs, and they're making dinner, and he sits down and he starts talking about Ralph Cramden, the show that they're watching, and they're like, "Oh, this is our first TV. We just got it." Blah, blah, blah. And he turns to his mother as a young teen and says, "Well, we have 2 television sets."
Right.
And his uncle at the time says, "Well, you must be rich." And the mother's like, "Oh, he's teasing you. Nobody has 2 television sets." When you watch the beginning of the movie, you don't know this because you're not paying attention. He's doing the thing that Jeff Foxworthy used to talk about, where you have the big TV and the little TV on the top.
Oh my God, I remember that.
Sets he's talking about, but like the frame of reference is like you think, oh, there's 2 TVs in the house somewhere. But really, it's just like an old TV with a little one on top. The old one doesn't work, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? So there's that.
I remember that.
Another Easter egg is when he goes to see Doc at the mall, and he brings the camera and all that. It's the Twin Pines Mall. You probably both know this one. This is a pretty obvious one. But when he goes back in time, he knocks down one of the pine trees.
Yes.
With his little car accident. When he comes back at the end of the movie, it's Lone Pine Mall, right? So it's just funny because it's like a little teeny something you wouldn't see.
Right.
Also, he mixes up Star Wars and Star Trek, right? Because when he comes,
he does the what do you call it, the Vulcan thing?
Yeah, when he comes in with the spacesuit, he says, "I'm Darth Vader. I'm an extraterrestrial."
Right. Yes, that's it.
He completely mixes the 2 up. I don't know if that was. I know it was a nod to those 2 at the time, but I'm not sure. I know that's what they wanted to do. Yes, in the Van Halen song, I think Eddie Van Halen, either Edward Van Halen or Van Halen, is on that cassette that he puts into that little Walkman.
Eruption. Yeah.
The one thing I was watching that's crazy, if you're weird like me, is like he had a hairdryer in his belt loop because it looked like a gun, and I don't think anybody would know what a hairdryer was in 1955, at least not a handheld one.
Right.
And I was sitting in the theater going, wait a minute, I know he didn't bring it with him because it's got to be an 85 item, right? So, but why would he have it? I don't think he would have packed it unless it was in like Doc's,
probably in Doc's
or whatever, right? But I noticed that I'm like, why would he have that? It's definitely not from that era. So he had to have brought it with him anyway. I just thought that was funny.
Well, Doc Brown had the big...
Right. But so, yeah, it didn't look like, to be honest with you, Doc Brown didn't look like he did anything with his hair, with a hairdryer.
I think it was pink, too, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I believe it was.
Was it? Well, when he came back, it was, right? Like,
I mean, the hairdryer itself, I think it was pink.
Oh, maybe it was. But I could have sworn, it looked like it was, I couldn't see the color of it because the room was dark.
Maybe not.
So I thought it was like an aqua.
I think I'm thinking also that it was pink for some reason.
I don't know, but I couldn't see what the color of it was because it was like in the dark at night, so you couldn't see too much of it. And then Statler. I don't know if you know anything about Statler, but Statler Toyota is this big truck that he wanted to get at the beginning of the movie. Statler Toyota. And when the movie opens up, there's the commercial. Here at Statler Toyota, blah, 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 85 years or whatever the heck it was. And they go into the history of Statler Toyota. And the scene where he's going back in time or going into the future for 55, and they're standing in front of the clock tower. There's Statler Studebaker, and I'm not sure if you saw that, but that's on the side. So,
by the way, I've now solved it.
What?
The hairdryer was black, but he was wearing pink gloves.
Oh, okay.
So that's why.
All right, that makes sense. So yeah, but also if you're into the trilogy, and this is the only time I'm going to reference a trilogy is when you go back to Back to the Future 3. There's a Statler horse company.
Oh,
so there's a guy that owns the horses and whatever he does, leases them out or whatever he does. So it's I guess that family And then over time, they become Statler Studebaker and then Statler Toyota, their family.
That is cute when they do that.
It's pretty cool. Then there's the Marvin and Chuck Berry thing, which I think most people pretty much know.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody knows that Chuck Berry wrote Johnny B. Good. I'm not sure if a lot of people understand that, but it looks like they're trying to incorporate Marty as like the person who originally wrote the song, and then Chuck Berry copies the song. And there's no Marvin Berry at all. That person doesn't exist. But they put that in there. Also, the clock tower ledge, when he comes back to 1985, the broken ledge and the wire are still there. I don't know why the wire is still there, but it is. We would think they would have done something with it, but whatever. And then the 1.21 gigawatts, when Doc sends Einstein into the future that 1 minute, and the reentry comes back, and it's a minute and 21 seconds. That's a tribute to the 1.21 gigawatts of it. Like I said, it's all these little teeny tiny things,
right?
That most people either wouldn't know or maybe wouldn't care about. And then there's two stories I have here. One of them is about Crispin Glover and the whole thing that went on, because he was the original. He's one of the best, and so in the original, he's amazing. But he went through some kind of disputes with everybody about coming back for the sequel.
Right.
Oh, and really?
You may or may not know about that. But he had a salary dispute for the sequels, right? He played George, obviously. He was unhappy with the capitalist message of the revision of the first film. So he didn't like the overly successful result. He thought that was too capitalistic. He thought it was insufficient.
That's the point.
He didn't want to come back. Well, it's not that he didn't want to come back. I guess he got into some disputes over money and things like that. But he wanted them to be happy and better off and more well-rounded as a family. But he didn't like. I don't know.
He didn't like them in the future being rich and then doing the same thing to Biff that Biff did to them in high school, and kind of being bullies and being these rich snobby people in the future, as opposed to just being fulfilled.
Yeah,
right.
So there was no growth to the character.
Right. He felt like it was a bad message that they were sending about money.
Probably right.
He was dissatisfied with the money he was offered for the sequels, and he decided to turn down 2 and 3. There was also disagreements and tension between him and Bob Gale, who was one of the producers, and that contributed to the producers not wanting to work with him again either. Who kept doing? I'm not sure. I think you're talking about. I
believe he means George, the actor who was playing George.
Because of his refusal to return, the producers hired actor Jeffrey Wiseman to play George McFly, and that's the person who shows up in the second one, obviously, using prosthetics and makeup to make him resemble Glover, and that caused not a lawsuit, but that caused a problem. And it would be the same. I'd feel the same way. Right. He later sued Universal Pictures for using his likeness without permission. He won that settlement, and the lawsuit was a result of the replacement, not the reason for it.
Right.
So yeah. And then Claudia Wells, who played Jennifer
in the first one.
In the first one, right? Not the second.
She was not able to come back because I'm sure everybody was kind of like, "That's not her." The second movie was obviously clearly Elizabeth Shue, right? That they brought back, but I mean, at the time, we didn't know much about why. But I guess she had to leave the role to care because her mother was sick with cancer, and she didn't want to leave her mom, which is fair.
That's right.
Right.
This meant she couldn't reprise the role, leading to the casting of Elizabeth Shue. There was an initial recasting with Mallory Hardin before Wells was available, but she was, but not the sequels. And the reason they brought her in and it didn't work was because she's not taller than Michael J. Fox, who's extremely short. I think Michael J. Fox is like, I forget if he's 5'5" or 5'6" or whatever, but he's not very tall.
Right.
And so let's see, what was the deal here? So. Nope, that's pretty much it. And
Eric Stoltz was the original Marty McFly.
Yes, and they filmed a lot of the movie before replacing it. Just did not work.
Yep.
Well, I'd seen
sorry.
a deal where they outside of it, just it not really clicking and that and this and that kind of stuff, but also that with the mom,
Leah Thompson
and him had just did that movie where they dated.
Some Kind of Wonderful.
Yeah. And so then that was one of the other things that they were kind of, is this going to be off-putting to an audience? because the last movie they were dating and trying to, the same age and hooking up, and then now this time we're gonna make it her his mom. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, I mean, if you look at a movie called Punchline with Tom Hanks and Sally Field, and then Forrest Gump, hey, Sally, now she's your mother. Congratulations.
I know. I mean, but that's what acting is. I know, but people are like, but that's weird. But sometimes they'll make people older. Sometimes they'll make them younger. I mean, there was a point in time where Sally Fields would have been the age of Forrest Gump, and they had to age her to make Tom Hanks older. So I don't know. What are you gonna do? But I think that also they said that the movie was also had a different vibe to it with Eric Stoltz. It wasn't a comedy so much.
Yeah, it was more of a sci-fi than it was.
Yeah, it was more serious. And I don't know what happened, but for whatever reason, they just didn't. It didn't jive really well for them to use him anyway. It not only was it not because of Leah Thompson, but also because I guess for whatever reason, I don't know, they just didn't like the vibe the movie had.
Well, they said his comedic timing was a little.
Yeah.
I mean, but he's not. I mean,
that's not his
Michael
thing.
J. Fox is Michael J. Fox and was
right.
Alex P. Keaton on Family Ties and all of these. I think that was his name, right? But I mean,
yes,
there was very few. I mean, he was the biggest thing in the '80s because there was very few people that were like Michael J. Fox, and there still has been very few people that had that same aura, energy. Sort of, you loved him even if he was kind of a pill in Family Ties, or you loved him as Marty McFly, but even later in what was it called, Spin City, where he was kind of the lawyer, the ad guy or lawyer or whatever. I mean, he was a lovable but energetic but funny, not needing to be slapstick kind of funny. I mean, there just hasn't been a lot of people that had that same, Frighteners, even that seemed odd for Michael J. Fox, but I really enjoyed that movie. You still liked him. You know what I mean?
I love him in everything. Right now I'm on a Michael J. Fox watch because I don't want anything to happen to him.
So the question is, after 40 years, you saw the movie, does it still hold up?
It does.
I think we lost one. I don't think they wanted the answer out there. Somebody came and got her. Wait, are you there?
I'm here. That I can. Okay. I'm not here.
No, you are now.
You are now.
I see myself moving around, so I thought that. No, it does hold up. I have an 85-inch TV at home.
Right.
And it's good. To me, Back to the Future has to be loud. It just has to be loud. The lights have to be on, and it just has to be. When I went to the theater, it was good, but the volume wasn't high. Isn't that weird? They just didn't have the volume high. It's a stupid thing, but it's important to me that the sound is surrounding and it's.
I can hear the music.
It didn't
right
have
now.
It didn't have the whatever you want to call it, THX or whatever they use for surround sound. They didn't really have that going on.
Yeah.
Maybe they figured all of us, because we like the movie and want to see it, we're probably too old and we needed hearing aids, so they didn't want to make it too high for us. But I would assume that they would. And that was the only problem I had with it. So when I watch it at home, I like it better just because, I'm the only one there, first of all, and secondly, it's I can turn it up, So.
Well, yeah. Before we go, I have a question for Ron, and I hope Ron can answer. Because last time we were here, if you go to our website, Rhode-IslandBroadcasting.net, there is a poll there for Hall of Fame TV shows. And I was wondering, he said that the poll was closing. Ron, do we have a winner? Or is there still time left for voting? I'm going to give him a few minutes to come up with that. There we go. Let's see. So apparently Hall of Fame Golden Girls has been declared the winner.
The Golden Girls won, right?
For the first Hall of Fame voting for Best TV Show. You know what? I kind of agree that all of those shows, I know if you put them on right now, I would watch. But I picked Golden Girls, and it looks like he has the newest poll.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm assuming it doesn't say Best Actor.
Daily Hall of Fame. I guess it's for
It
Hall
doesn't
of
list
Fame
the
for
category.
actors. It
So
just
we have
says
Philip Seymour
just
Hoffman,
actors. Yep.
Tom Hanks, Robin Williams, Sean Penn, or Gene Hackman. So go to Rhode-IslandBroadcasting.net and vote on the Hall of Fame and vote for your favorite actor.
Big movies.
Okay.
In the
Anybody
90s.
have any picks right now? Oh, big movies in the 90s? Okay. So it's actors from the 90s. Oh, that narrows it down a little more.
Yeah. I mean,
I would say overall life, I would say Gene Hackman, but 90s, Robin Williams, maybe.
Oh, I think the most box office may have come from Tom Hanks in the 90s.
I'm going to go with Tom Hanks.
But it's whatever you decide, so you go do that.
Yes.
Tomorrow, join us again. Ron and Kenny will be hosting, and they're going to be kicking off Military Week on Going On Daily. So you want to be there for that. On behalf of Lynn and JP and myself, I want to thank you for hanging out with us. And remember, if you ever need some fun, join us because we've got it going on daily. Bye, folks.
Bye-bye.